Okay, so we're here today to talk about some low back pain. If you're feeling this kind of pain, maybe you've been working in the garden, you've been exercising more, you're spending a lot of time sitting at your desk or you're in your car and you're getting this type of pain that just radiates around your lower back and makes your, what we call your activities of daily living, just your normal thing, cooking, looking after yourself, sitting down, getting up off the sofa, looking after your kids or your dogs, and you feel limited in your range of motion. So we want to work on a few little things today that you can do to help soften that tension in your back and increase your range of motion, make you feel a little better. And then I want to give you something to help strengthen and stabilize, because this can be having to do with some instability going on. So we want to strengthen things as well. So we're going to get going and we're going to get on the floor and we're going to start there with our first exercise. This laying down on the floor. It's nice to do it on a wall, to be able to put your feet against the wall. So if you can come into this position, it's called a 90-90 position. So you're going to lay flat on your back. Put your hips and your knees at 90 degrees. Line your feet up on the wall. You want to press your feet firmly, flatly into the wall, as if you're walking on the ground, basically. So your feet are firmly positioned there. Now, when you're in this position, you're going to just let your lower back flatten into the floor. You can lay like this for a couple minutes and just sort of get an idea. Tip your pelvis back and forth like this. You can get an idea how your lower back is going to lie flat on the floor, and then just come into that neutral position. You can have a ball, a yoga block, maybe a book. If you don't have anything like that, you can use a rolled up towel. This is my camp towel. So you can just roll it up like this, and you're going to place this between your knees. I'm going to use my ball, so I have this ball for now. You place that between your knees, and you want to just lightly squeeze against the ball like that. So now we're going to engage. We're going to take a couple breaths in and out, and then what you're going to do is initiate with your feet into the wall. You're going to push your feet into the wall, and then kind of feel that force, then relax there. Take a big breath in, and you want to lightly just let your pelvis rotate backwards and your lower back press into the floor. Feel your feet press into the wall, and you want to drag your feet down the wall. So you're using your hamstrings here to engage. Your pelvis is just slightly tilting back, and you're like going to lift yourself up off the floor, so you can just get your hands underneath your sacrum or the back of your buttocks here. Feel all that just as your hamstrings, you can feel down here and feel them engaging. You don't want to really contract hard. It's just a nice light pull, but you'll feel them tensing. And at this point, when your pelvis is rotating back, take a breath in, and then you want to exhale like a big sigh. So, and then go. So you're going to feel your abdomen relax. Your pelvis is slightly tilting back. You can pull slightly more up as your pelvis is rotating back, and you're going to feel a nice traction in your lower back. As your abdomen relaxes, your diaphragm is being involved here, taking the pressure off your lower back and getting that traction, letting those muscles relax. So you can do 10, 15-second hold and then come down. Take a couple breaths and then initiate the whole thing again. You can do 5 sets of this. You can work your way up to doing 10 sets, and then just relaxing afterwards. You can come down, keep your feet up on the wall, and then just have some nice gentle breaths at the end of this. Hope this helps. So another thing we can do to help alleviate the lower back tension and pain that you're experiencing is to get into a squat, called Primal squat. If you're able to, coming into this position, a full range of motion in your pelvis, and letting your lower back just basically line up, your sacrum drop down. Again, you get a nice sort of traction into your lower back when you do this. If you're not able to get into this position, a lot of people have tight ankles, tight calves, maybe their knees won't reach this range of motion. A few things you can do to help do that. You can use something like using a towel. So you're going to lift your heels up, so you're having a little more range in your ankles and be able to squat down here. You may need something higher. You could use some books, something cushion. You could take the edge of the yoga mat, roll it up, and raise your heels up higher. That'll help you get down into this position. Once you're into this position, if you can get here, you just want to sort of rock around and just let your motion in your pelvis, your lower back, where your sacrum attaches with your pelvis and your lower back. Just let everything kind of go loosey-goosey and just traction down like you're doing, again, this pelvic tilt like we did on the wall, and just letting that stretch out, basically. You can do some playing with coming into positions like this, some more flexion in your lower back to help stretch that area out as well. So making your progression from the floor, if you can't squat just naturally on the floor, or using any of the implements to raise your heels up to help with that range of motion, you can use a door frame. I use these for a lot of things. So if you're wanting to squat and say, like, you know, your range of motion is stuck in here, you can use the door frame to help support yourself to get down. If you can get all the way down to this position, that's great, and using the door just to help you get there. You may not be able to. You may only be able to get part way, but you can use the door frame to hold yourself and then ease yourself in, trying to work your way into getting this full range of motion. It's fine. For me, that's the best way I found for people who are stiff and aren't able to get into that position. So I hope that helps. We've done some movements to open up our lower back. We're going to do a little bit more now to do a stretch. We're down on the floor. If you're able, again, to sit down like this, come into a child's pose, you're just going to flex forward. You can bring your hands beside you if you want. You can just bring your hands in front of you, rest your head down, let the lower back open up and stretch out. Have a couple breaths in this position. Then I want you to come up onto your hands and knees, and we're going to do a bit of a side bend to stretch out the side part of our lower back here. So you come in this position, sitting back on your heels, and then just walk yourself around till you feel a stretch here through the side of your body and into your lower back. That position, you can, if you feel comfortable and there's a nice stretch, you can push your weight back into that side, into your hip. So you can see me just sort of shift the weight into that hip and feel a bit more stretch down through here in the lower back. And get in this position so it's comfortable. You don't want it to hurt. Do a number of breathing cycles. Breathe 4, 5, 6 times. Big breaths. Breathe into that side. And exhale. Then you want to come back out and then go to the other side. Do the same thing. Get that stretch feeling in there. You can sit into the side. Breathe in. You're going to feel a bigger stretch as you breathe in, and then exhale. And then just work. As you breathe in and out, you'll probably feel more relaxation and you can get a bit more stretch in there. Don't overdo it, just so that it's comfortable. Don't cause any pain while you're doing this. Floor, we've done some mobility stuff for our back, trying to open it up. We've done a bit of stretching now. We want to do something to do some stability work now for our back, and our glutes are a big factor in stabilizing how the lower back feels. So we're going to do a glute bridge. Back in this similar position we were with our feet on the wall, but we're going to have our feet on the floor. We're going to come back down here onto the floor. Position your feet similarly to being on the wall. You want to make sure they're really anchored into the floor, flat on all the points of our feet. Put the ball between the knees again and come into this nice neutral position like we were. Again, take a couple breaths and just sort of play with your pelvic tilt a little bit. You can sort of find that neutral position when you're doing this. So let's let your back relax. You don't want to be pushing it into the floor really extremely or arching your back. You just want to find the neutral position. And now we're going to do a light little pelvic tilt posteriorly. Press your low back into the ground, again, just gently. And now you're going to squeeze your knees slightly. Press your feet into the floor, into your big toe and the forefoot of your foot. Really sort of push into there, stabilize your feet. And then you're going to start to engage your glutes, flexing from your glutes and lifting yourself up here. From about partway up this position, you can try to push your knees away from you and engaging your glutes to lift yourself up. Into this position, really focusing on your glutes contracting. You may feel some in your hamstrings, but this is going to stabilize your sacrum and your lower back and get that pelvic tilt, and try and engage that pelvic tilt to maintain this when you're walking around, sitting, lying down. that it'll stay in this position naturally without going into an anterior or posterior pelvic tilt. You want to really do this to stabilize yourself in a neutral position. So again, have a couple breaths like this, do a contraction for 10 to 15 seconds, and then as you're coming down, do that pelvic tilt from your back. You want to kind of come down segmentally in your lower back, slowly lowering your back down, like rolling it out, keeping your pelvic tilt backwards, and then engage and let your pelvis come back to neutral. So we've gone through all these different things we can do to release that tension in our lower back. One other thing you can do on a daily basis, if you have a door frame, you have a door, some other place you can hang, maybe you have a door frame chin-up bar. Having it there to hang regularly is really nice. You don't actually have to have your feet off the ground and hang, but you can reach up if you have a door frame that you can reach onto. Bring your feet again slightly in front of you, and then just offload your spine. Just sort of let your hips sit down like you're going to sit, and just take the weight off your legs and off your feet. And then you can move your pelvis around like this and just get some traction into your lower back. Feels really nice. You can do this regularly. Come, stand like this for 30 seconds to a minute. Just take a nice relaxation with that. I like to add into that when I can do the squat is I'll squat in between. I'll come into a squat for a minute or so. Get a bit of stretch in the lower back, and then I'll go back into the hang, and I'll do repeats like this. Feels really nice. I just walk around my house, and I do that whenever I get the chance. If you're unable to hang onto a door frame like this, the door itself can also work. You don't want to hang out here on the door. You want to come here where the hinges are so that it's nice and stable. Again, hold the top of the door, and then you can just let yourself hang down into the door frame. Again, you don't have to take your feet off the floor. Just let the weight of your body sort of lightly descend onto your feet and feel the traction in your back. And just let the door hold you. Something that's really nice to do regularly if you're sitting at your desk all the time. You're going to walk to the lunchroom or whatever, stop at a door frame and hang for a little bit. It'll really help your back. And let me know if you have any questions. We're doing all this for generalized lower back pain, trying to keep this simple. Lower back is a complex thing. A lot of people have lower back pain. It's one of the leading things for people going to doctors for missing work is low back pain. So these are some simple things you can do around the house, you can do in your office, you can do if you're exercising to help release that tension, release the pain, and do some things to strengthen and stabilize. Hope that helps. Thank you.